In this video right here, we're going to recreate this scene using some basic shape layers. So first, I'm going to create a new comp right here. Then I'm going to click on my pen tool, and I'm just going to create a shape right here. And for my stroke, I'm going to have it like a 3.5 right here. Then I'm going to click down in Contents, Shape, Stroke, and I'm going to look for a taper right here. And I'm going to set this to 100. And then the start, I'm going to have it 100 right here. Then I'm going to go to Effects and Preset, and I'm going to put a turbulent displacement over it. And for the amount, I'm going to set to 27. My size, I'm going to have it 5. And the complex right here is going to be a 3.6. And that should give a nice web look so far. Now I'm going to call this web 1, and I'm going to duplicate it about 7 times, making it look like a web light. Now I'm about to duplicate this one for the last time, and it's going to be my main web, and this is going to be the very long one. Now I want this to be connected better, so I'm going to go to the main comp, Contents, Shape, and my stroke right here, and I'm going to go down to Taper, and I'm going to set this one to around maybe 90 or 20, trying to see which one connects better. And I think 10 is good, and I want this to be less thicker, so I'm going to go to my stroke and I'm going to put it at 2. And now I want to drag in my picture right here for reference, the background. Now this picture is included in the template we provide for this right here for the Patreons. The link should be in the description. Now I'm going to add a curve to this because I want to be able to see this web a little more, so I'm going to make it a little bit darker. Next step is adding Puppet Tool to the front and end of this. So the Puppet Tool is right here. I'm going to click it, and I'm going to click on my first web, isolate it, and I'm going to click right up here, the beginning and the end, and now I can move this around freely. And now I'm going to do it to the second one. And then lastly, the main comp right here. Now what I want to do is I want to start connecting these puppet tools, where this right here will be connected to the main web right here. So if I select the first web, hit P twice on the keyboard, it should bring up my puppet tools. And I'm going to want the second one right here, moving it around. I want this connected right here to the main comp. And to do that is I want to scroll up to the main comp, hit P twice to bring up the puppet tool. And I want to connect it to, let's see, I want to connect it to the bottom one right here. I'm just going to name this to help me, pick me. And now what I want to do is I want to take the first pen tool, or the second pen tool right here, and this little spider web looking thing, I want to whip it right to this position right here. And now if we go to the main comp, we can see this is attached to it. And I'm going to do the same thing to all the rest of them. Hit. Now I should have this all connected. I'm going to set it to quarterly to test it out smoothly. And now that it's all connected, I'm going to animate it. Now to start animating this, I'm going to go to the puppet tool for the main one. And there's already a keyframe here. And I'm just going to move it up to around like 5 for now right here. And then I'm going to go to the beginning. I'm just going to drag this all the way right here. And this one, I'm going to drag along 2 down. So if I hit U on my keyboard twice, it should bring up the keyframes. And here's the first one right here. I'm just going to match it up. Now since this is animated, now it's time to do the rest of these individual lines. So if I select the first web, hit U on my keyboard twice, it will bring up the keyframes right here. And I want to go to 5 seconds. And put the original keyframes here, and then when I start from the beginning, I'm going to put the first keyframe all the way out here. Now I'm going to apply the same method to the rest of them. Hit U on my keyboard twice. Make sure I put this around 5 for now. Now when you're scrubbing through the animation, if your webs look like this, what you want to do is you just want to grab your main comp right here and make sure this right here is pushed down even more. Now this is very slow right now, so what we're going to do is we're going to select all the ends right here and we're going to move this up way quicker, and I'm going to make sure these are aligned right. Now to make this look more realistic, I'm going to toggle my switch right here to find the motion blur. Select everything by clicking Command A. I'm just going to hit this right here. And you can see we got some motion blur to this. And then I'm going to select all my keyframes, right click, keyframe assistance, and I'm going to put an easy ease on it. And the motion blur adds a more realistic look to this. And now we're going to add some more detail to this web. I'm going to drag in stock image right here of this web, and this is included in our template we have for you guys. And I'm going to go to effects and presets. I want to put a color range on it, and I want to get rid of this black right here. Turn the fuzzy all the way to 100%. Then I'm going to put a fill on it so I can make it look white instead of this blue looking right here. And now I want to put this into a pre-comp. Right click, pre-comp it. And it looks too detailed right here, so we're going to fix that later. Now I'm going to mask this right here, but first let me turn the web eyeball off so I can know where I'm drawing. And now let me turn the eyeball back on. Now that's looking a little better. Now if I hit F on my keyboard, I'm going to set the feather right here to about 10%. And then I'm going to double click on this, and I'm going to make the mask expansion just a little smaller. Now what we're going to do is we're going to have this new web follow this right here. So I'm going to click on it, click on the puppet tool, and I'm going to start putting my dots right up here, one in the middle, the bottom, and right here so it can connect to the main comp right there. So now I'm going to hit P on my keyboard twice, and it should bring up our 4 pen tools right here. Now the main one, I'm going to do the same thing like we did for the rest. I'm going to pick whip it right to this main one. So now I want to do the top one. Pick whip it right here. And then let's do the middle one. Okay, now it's all tracked on there, and you can see it's very off. And if this happens to you, just drag your comp right here and try to mimic right where it should be. Now make sure you add the motion blur right here, and we don't need this until it's right around here, so we can add a opacity 100. And then we're going to take it out right here so it comes on right around here. And now we're going to make this more realistic. So when it hits right here, we want the web to bounce a little. And in order to do that, we're just going to animate this right here to do some bounce. So starting at the end after our keyframes are done, I'm going to move forward a few frames. And I'm just going to move this up here, move forward. I'm going to make it go back down here. Now you definitely have to mess around to make it more realistic. Maybe let's space these out a little more. Now after adjusting the keyframes how you like it, you're going to end up with something like this. Now if you want multiple webs, just copy all this and put it in a pre-comp right here. Then go back to your comp and duplicate this, and then you can move this wherever you want. Now if we want to change this middle for a more detailed kind of look, we always can adjust it going into this right here. Now if you want to match this aperture right here, we're going to go right here and I'm going to type in GAU and we're going to put this blur on it, and I'm going to set this at 5. Then I'm going to copy and paste it to the one right up here, and here we go. And here we have it right here, the cool looking Spider-Man effect using Adobe After Effects.